Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Tribe Called Health. I am Joe Rignola from wellnesspunks.com, and joining me today are Eric Hulse from erichulse.com, Catherine Koss from primalblissnutrition.com, and our guest tribe member this evening, Mary the Paleo Chef Shanuda from the paleochef.com. I'm still really envious that you got that domain name. The paleochef.com is
I arm wrestled and I won.
because you crush life. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about crushing life.
When did you get that domain?
I purchased that, I want to say, when was South by Southwest? March?
Oh,
So my website started out as personalpaleochef.com, which I purchased the night before I decided to quit my job. And I was rolling with that, and I got a bunch of traffic. And then I got into the gang with a whole bunch of well-known writers who I cook for. And someone had asked me, why don't you have paleochef.com? And I'm like, oh, I've checked, but somebody has it, and I don't know who it is. He's like, well, check today. And I checked that day, and it went to auction that day.
What?
Wow.
Like, wait a second. This is an alchemist moment.
Totally.
That's amazing.
You
So for
were
the next
meant to have
48
it.
hours, I was bidding on it, like checking obsessively.
Oh, that's crazy. All right, so let's back up a little bit because folks who are listening, if they don't know who you are, just give them a little background how you got started. Like, because it's such a cool story. You went from this corporate world to doing what you're doing now. So take us through that journey.
Yeah, and so it started kind of being sick my whole life, which you've heard this story before, where I migrated to second grade. I had my first female checkup in fourth grade because I thought that I had cancer, which is real traumatic for a little girl. And going through into my 20s, telling me I had cancer, telling me I had lupus, medical issues with my skin, my eyesight, and you get to a point in your life where you're just real sick of it, real sick of people making all these guesses and throwing medication that makes you even sicker into your body. And I decided to do my own research. We all know and love the TED Talk by Dr. Terry Walls. It made a lot of sense to me. I'd done a report on mitochondria when I was in high school. Then from that, found out that I was a celiac, then did more research and decided that the easiest way to describe the way that I eat is paleo, which is why I have this different perspective on what paleo is. Within 2 weeks, symptoms that I've had my whole life went away. So it was great. I was balancing this new lifestyle that was healing me from the inside out. Cool byproduct, which everyone seems to love the most, is I lost weight. But the challenge with this lifestyle was that I had to make all my meals for myself because eating out was impossible, and I worked an hour and a half away from my house, one-way drive in Silicon Valley. And in that process, I was still having my health suffer because I was tied to this 12-hour-a-day corporate gig where I had to chase a quota. So another of those, I'm just sick and tired of it. I came home, threw up a website, went in the next day, told my boss, I'm resigning. I'm gonna pursue my health and see if I can help other people do this as well. And I'm lucky enough that my boss, I'd worked with him for almost the entire decade, and he basically said, I knew this time would come when you'd eventually do your own thing. And within a month, I had celebrities and athletes asking me to cook for them and teach them paleo and mold it into that direction where we can make it more mainstream. And I am now a year and a month later crushing it, if I'm allowed to say that.
Too late. Yeah, no, totally. So you started this a year and a month. Okay. You just quit your job and went full bore into this.
Yep.
You had already taught yourself how to cook by then.
Yeah, so
Right.
Greek and Egyptian background, you know how to cook by the time you're age 4. You're being trained to grow up, get married, have a whole bunch of kids, just like my big fat Greek wedding. I've done none of that. But I know how to cook. And so When it came time to make meals that were paleo, I understand food incredibly well, that it's not a challenge for me. And I already have to think in form of substitution, whereas a classically trained chef from culinary school, their idea of food is this one specific way, and not to take away from it in any way, but the example I can give to that is I took over a restaurant of a world-renowned chef. His name is Michael Mina in San Francisco. And these chefs know what they're doing, obviously, James Beard award-winning chefs, but they look to me for that natural, how do we substitute this in a sauce? How do we substitute this in a pastry? Because I already think that way. Mm-hmm. And we took over the restaurant. We did an entire 5-course paleo-friendly meal that was still fine dining and beautiful, and everyone enjoyed themselves. It's sold out, which only further proves that people want to be able to combine a paleo lifestyle with living the good life and going out and still enjoying the social aspect of being able to not worry about what's on my plate and also not have it be a piece of broccoli and a steak.
Mm.
That's boring.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I love that, but every day that's boring. I want a fancy sauce. I want a sorbet, that kind of stuff.
So what's like your signature meal?
Well, my name is Mary, and I had a little lamb.
Right on.
Yeah.
I see where this is going.
She's in there.
You say that rhyme to me enough times, I'm gonna kill that lamb.
Oh yeah.
So I do one of my favorite dishes by most of my clients is a turmeric and coriander braised lamb shank over bone marrow cauliflower mash.
Excellent.
And that's the
bone marrow cauliflower mash. Wow.
Yes, it's one of the first dishes I serve to that chef, as well as my other clients, and it usually gets a silent
Wow. How did you even think to put bone marrow in what is essentially a mashed potato type of deal?
So, form of manipulation. If you tell someone who's new to paleo, and you tell them you need to have liver and bone marrow and all these things they're not accustomed to eating, they're going to be like, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, screw it. There's ways to fold in nutrients into all of your dishes. And so when I look at a plate of food, yes, I see food, but I also see function in everything on my plate. And so I want my clients to get that, and not everyone is going to enjoy a piece of bone marrow the way maybe you and I would. Mm-hmm. But if I just wrap that into a mash and it's delicious, they're going to eat it up. I had a client that said, I don't like liver, and I'm like, I hate to break it to you, that burger you just consumed that I made you is liver with liver. He's like, oh, I guess I don't dislike liver so much after all.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise!
Exactly. Hey, Catherine, with your kids, have you found ways to kind of fold in nutrients like Mary said, or get them to eat liver without knowing it?
Yes, I do the same thing in meatballs and meatloaf. They like, and they'll eat it. They don't know. My older son will eat anything, though. I mean, I cooked a beef heart, and he actually devoured it and loved it, and he knew what it was. Nice. But the younger one, not so much. He's a little more picky. So I hide it.
As a dad, that was actually a really self-serving question. Sorry, that wasn't even, it was just for me. No, but actually, Mason's first real food was egg yolk and liver. So he started off pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I guess you got to start them off off the bat, right? Because when I was growing up, I think because we have such a Caribbean background, and everything was from my aunt who cooked for us. She was on a farm, lived on a farm. My dad lived on a farm, so everything always just came from the land, and they didn't waste one part of the animal. So growing up, we would eat things like cow tongues, cow foot soup, pigtails, and it was just like, and it's good. It's good stuff, Once you get over, okay, I'm eating a tongue of an animal, and you spice that thing up and you saute it, it's like, this is mad good,
We made, a few months ago, we had friends over, and we made cow tongue tacos, and they were so good. Yeah. Cow tongue is actually They actually came out. We did it in the slow cooker, and actually came out like pulled pork. It was really delicate, really, really, really tasty. So.
And
That's
how were
what
your
it
friends?
comes
Were
down
they
to.
receptive?
What's that? One at a time. Don't make me separate you two.
Go ahead, Mary.
I was going to say that's kind of the key of all of these ingredients that seem odd to everyone else, but same as Eric, it's very normal to me, is if you cook it the right way, it's going to be delicious. And you can tell them what it is, and they're still going to think it's delicious because you have to know how to cook tongue.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I handed my roommate tongue, I think he'd cry.
And you're right about the cooking part, because my mother and my aunt could shut down any restaurant. I promise you. It's just in them, you know. And me as a young kid, I was just always so fascinated with seeing them in the kitchen and just watching them. And my aunt, she was hardcore. She was like a bull. And whether you wanted to or not, you were helping her out in the kitchen. So we were grinding coconuts if we wanted it to or not. We were mixing things, and I was almost forced into cooking, but I ended up loving it because I was just watching, you know, the passion that my aunt and my mom had for it.
Eric, sorry,
ahead,
I was going to say just a quick. I remember watching one of your brother's videos when he was talking about paleo, and people giving him a hard time, saying, "Oh, you're just doing paleo because it's popular now." He's like, "Dude, I was doing paleo before there was a name for it."
Exactly.
It's like, that's the way we were raised. Mary, it sounds like it's the same. Like you were eating paleo before you even knew it was paleo.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I make this point all the time. Cancer does not run in my family at all, and I'm first generation. But my parents, who live in the United States, are diagnosed with cancer, but it doesn't run in our family in Europe or Egypt. That, to me, says everything about the food we have here.
Yeah.
It's a big red flag, isn't it? You know, and it looks like you have a personal connection to that, because your family who's living in a foreign country, they're not being diagnosed with these things. But when you come to America and you're fed all this great food, you know, the disease is only going to manifest where you allow it to.
Yes. And it all has to do with just education. And that's why I take the stance that I do, where I don't call it paleo, I call it paleo. Forget the rules that people have set forth. Forget the stigma around it. Let's bring it back to basics is what I do with my clients. And I wean them into strict paleo. Then I very slowly wean them into what works for them. So it's something that they can keep in their lifestyle forever, not just because they're trying to get rid of one symptom or lose weight, because it all has to do with education. And what I think that our space is lacking is somebody who is going to be malleable in that way with their clients, and stop reading the books. Because if you just educate one person the right way, what's great is that feeling good is contagious. And if you get one client to feel good and do it the right way that works for them, everyone around them is going to see that change and want to hop on board with them as well. And somebody always asks me, you know, why do you still do one-on-one client calls instead of doing like a program that somebody can buy online? And it goes back to a little bit of my culture, where like a faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. If I can just influence one tiny mustard seed to do it the right way, they're going to move mountains in places that I can't even see. So yes, that's a long answer to yes. I'm very passionate and connected to it.
So, Mary, you're pretty much going to change the world.
One mustard seed at a time.
Oh, it's a surprise. It's a secret. Right? Okay.
Mary, I have a question for you. There's been a lot of talk lately about, or I guess a lot of debate in the paleo community about these paleo desserts and paleo treats and, you know, baked paleo goods. I was actually having a talk with someone on Instagram about that today, and I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
So I think, again, it has to do with education. I think if you keep giving your clients all these paleo desserts as options, they're going to consume the paleo desserts. I think sugar is evil in any amount. I know that I get sick. I think paleo treats are what they are. Treats, once in a while, birthdays and events, but not an everyday thing. There are so many other things you can eat instead of a treat that'll satisfy you. And what I think we have to do with paleo when it comes to paleo treats is what I call paleo 3.0, the psychology behind paleo. If you're mowing down on a bunch of treats, we got to talk about something else. Because it's not just that treat you're craving. And I think people abuse that quite a bit, but it's not my place to point fingers at anybody else who's putting out paleo treats. They have their audience because that's what their audience wants to see. I just think that I think if you make the right message, you can influence those people to pull away from paleo treats. Because again, you're not going to achieve your internal or external goals if you're having a paleo brownie every single day. And I have this fight with my clients quite a bit, the clients I cook for specifically, because they know that they have me at their disposal to make them some amazing cake or amazing cookie. And I tell them, I don't care who you are, because they're usually really well known. I don't care how much you pay me. You're not getting a treat for the first 3 months of me cooking for you. Until I see that you're following a paleo diet the way that I want to see some progress, you're not going to get the treat. And then once you get there, let's talk about ways to give you a treat here and there. I'm real big on accountability. That's why I say crap like no excuses, paleo like a champion.
I don't think I would like you as a coach very much.
You would love me as a coach.
I know, but no, I mean, look, I guess it really depends on where you're at, what your goals are. But people who are usually coming to people like us for help, there's usually a reason for it. Usually they're at the very least trying to lose weight, but more than likely they have some real nasty symptoms that they're trying to get rid of. And so, yeah, having a bunch of almond flour is probably not the best thing. So,
Mary, do you ever come across pretty difficult clients? And if you do, how do you work with them? How do you break through, that wall of, influences and background and culture that kind of plays into our food and our nutrition?
Can you give me an example of difficult? Because there's a spectrum of difficulty. And
yes.
That's the truth.
There is. Well,
and there are some difficult clients where right off the bat I tell them we can't work together.
Right
so if you
on.
have an example of one that I might be able to work with, I'll tell you how I deal with it.
Well, I guess somebody who I'm sure you set them up with some type of protocol which is paleo based, right? Somebody who is really not following it to the amount that you think they should.
Okay, so this is definitely I'm pulling out an old corporate term. This is me opening the kimono of my business.
That sounds sexy.
Crap.
I've never even heard that.
So there is a contract I have them sign. Several. I have all my legal contracts, and then I have my promise between me and a client. You have to come to me with a positive attitude that you want to. If you start the call with, I don't really know about paleo, then you're not ready for me. And sometimes just saying that is like, no. I want what I can't have, I'm ready. And the contract very clearly states, our agreement between us, is that you have to be readily available when we have our calls, and you have to follow the protocol that I give you based on 3 goals you told me you wanted to achieve. Whether a goal of the way I feel, which I usually start with that rather than a quantifiable goal, and that's for some other time, I guess. But I say that any time during our time together, I feel as though you are not following what we agreed upon, I will fire you as a client, and I will keep your money.
Oh, snap.
And it's effective.
Yeah,
and that's something they have to sign in their contract.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Has anyone actually refused to sign
I'm here to
that?
help you, but the real root of it is you're here to help yourself, and I'm just here to help facilitate that. And someone that comes to me probably already knows what to do. They have some questions because they're confused by all the information, like the paleo desserts that are out there. So I give them something that's very simple, but they really just want somebody to be able to check in with and be accountable to. That's going to give them advice that's been there and done that. Like I tell my clients, if there's anything beyond the plate of food that's going on, tell me about it, because chances are, unfortunately, but fortunately, I've been there, I've probably been through it, and let me help you with that so we can fix what's on the plate. And if you come at them with a point of view of both no excuses, but a level of compassion to where it's like, come to Jesus, let's have a talk here. I know what you're going through, let's figure it out and figure out progress, it's effective. And that has to do with, I've done a lot of bereavement counseling, at-risk teen counseling. I've coached lots of teams, and I'm able to mesh all of that into this food, this Eat Clean that we're going with.
Now, do you work with families ever?
I've worked with a couple, and right now I'm working with a mom who I give her as much information as possible with her one-on-one, and then she delivers that information to the family, because what's interesting about her family is her family's not ready, but she is. So we're starting there. It's very rare that you get a group of 4 that's like, yeah, that live in the same household.
Yeah. Yeah, like never.
Yeah, never.
So you said once you started being a personal chef, like within a month, you were like crazy.
There was one point where I was literally jumping up and down on my bed going, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, because of the emails and calls from people that I respect that are like, I want you to cook for me. And I'm like,
oh, awesome.
What?
How does that happen? Like, how did that happen? Can you draw a line between like where you started or something that you did to attract that?
I just did it. People ask me all the time how I started my business, and I can't. This is part of my personality, and I don't know how to tell the real. If I want to achieve something or contact someone, I put it out there. It's as simple as that. I created a website. I have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook. I have learned in this last year, the more of myself I become online, the more success I have with what's coming in.
Right.
And it was, I think, the most powerful tool for connecting with people like that of influence is Twitter. I think it's heavily underused. And if you want to connect with someone, it really just takes one tweet, maybe with the words bacon granola in it.
That got my attention.
Yeah, I think the first one, the very first big win was Tucker Max, and that was through Twitter. And then after that, it was Tim Ferriss, which was a combination of Twitter and attending one of his question settings at some of our tea lounge. And then Michael Mina, that big dinner event, was also Twitter. And then after that point, it was people hearing about the Paleo Chef and getting lots of people coming to my website that were professional athletes. I'm talking MLB, NFL, PGA. And I asked them, how'd you find me? And they're like, I heard someone talking about the Paleo Chef.
Can you drop names or what?
Tucker Max and Michael Mina is not enough.
Well, I'm sort of a sports fan, so I guess I was.
So the sports fans, I have NDAs with, and I keep working on getting, can I please use your name, because it's part of the goal of making it cool, and so we're working on that. There was one most recently that I said, I'll do anything. I'll tattoo your name on my arm if I could just name drop you. His wife is not a fan of that offer.
No, that's probably crossing the line between being a chef and a stalker, something like that.
A little bit.
Probably not good.
Mary, you mentioned before.
Go ahead.
You mentioned before that you work with teens sometimes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I didn't go the traditional route. I graduated high school very, very early, junior year, and went into corporate America. Crushed it.
Okay.
And I have a friend of mine who she's a teacher at one of those last chance schools. And she will handpick 1 or 2 students that have that hustle mentality but gets into a lot of trouble. And she would send them to me, and I'd work really closely with them, refining that hustle into their passion. And there were times in which it would break my heart to see a child of 13 or 14 with so much street smarts but no guidance, and breaking down their walls. And your goal is not to make children cry, but there was one instance where we were doing a creative exercise, and this teen started crying, and this is like a little thug, and he says, I've never had anybody ever tell me I was good at something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's
it
influential.
broke my
That's
heart, but
really
it also
influential.
connected to the coaching that I would do in my corporate environment when I would be teaching someone how to sell or how to manage teams. You find the same link where there's no one, people don't encourage people enough, and it starts at that age. Um, Along with the at-risk teen counseling, I also did counseling with children with autism and Down syndrome. I've kind of been in this I want to volunteer and help people since I was 13. I started doing hospice bereavement counseling when I was 15. My teacher thought I was insane. He was correct.
How do you wrap your head around that as a 15-year-old?
You, at 15, experience more funerals in your personal life than you do birthdays or baby showers.
Mm.
So I experienced death at a really young age and loss. And my advisor told me she was concerned that I was so good at connecting with both the patient that was passing as well as the family afterwards that she was concerned about how was I dealing with it when I went home. So that's a process that I still expand on. But these are all things that you see my rough, snarky exterior, which I put out there, but there's a place of compassion where it comes from. Because, again, you can name something you've been through, and unfortunately I've probably already been through it firsthand. And it's not to say it makes me an expert, but it makes me a really good person to talk to.
Now, the counseling part, is that part of your education, or is that just something that you naturally have a gift in?
I would, since I didn't go to college, I'd say it's a gift.
Sweet.
I don't know that you can go to school and study a textbook and learn how to connect and positively impact somebody else's life. And I'm not saying I'm changing someone's life forever, but for that day, it's a start.
I'm sure that one kid, you're the first person to tell him that he did something great. You changed his life right there.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm always humbled because you guys are all entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you guys deal with doubt. I have days of doubt all the time. And it's so interesting because I'll have days of doubt, and sometimes there'll be consecutive days of doubt. And then I'll receive an email from someone who I haven't talked to in 4 or 5 years who, Mary, this time you said this, and I'm achieving this because of that. And it makes me feel like, get up off the floor, Mary. Stop this self-doubt and keep doing what you're doing, because without realizing it, you're impacting people, and that's what makes me feel alive. Like I have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think people
emotional on this show.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say, Mary, you're my new inspiration.
It's good. It's so good though, because this is people are going to hear this, and I think people look at certain people who are successful and they think, oh man, it's just like an overnight success. People don't get to see behind the scenes those times when you can't get out of bed, and it's like those little wins that you talk about. Yeah. Getting that email, and I can totally relate to that. Getting that email from a client, or someone that read my book or whatever, and it's just like, that's it. It doesn't matter if I get paid that day. That's my payment for that day.
Yeah. That's why I say whatever you do it from a place of intention to feel a certain way. Achieving money and success is not the answer. It's to achieve a particular feeling. When you understand that place of, like, I want to feel content and grounded and connected to other people, if I know that that's the place that I'm coming from, it then helps the rest of my business in a more authentic way.
Yeah, the money follows usually when you go that route.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a ton of money. People are like stuck on this. I think growing up in Silicon Valley, I have a skewed sense of what success is because it's all these Facebooks and Twitters, and mm-hmm. It takes a really long time to get to just the beginning. And people, like you said, don't do that. Yeah. And so that's why I publicize on Facebook, hey, you guys, I'm quitting my job. Hey, you guys, I'm selling everything I own and moving to LA. Hey, you guys, my dog and I might be homeless. Follow along.
So that's I want to go back. I want to back up for a second because you quit your job. You were like, I'm doing this. You started a website, and the next day you quit your job. Did you have any sort of a plan, or you were just like, fucking, I'm taking action, and that's it?
Action.
Yeah.
I've always loved rolling the dice because that's the only way you'll ever win. if you play.
Yeah.
And there's never so many philosophers and so many writers. There's no such thing as a perfect time. It's now. Do it now. What's the worst that's going to happen? So what if I'm homeless? I have a lot of friends and a family. They've got couches. I'll figure it out. And that's a common thread in my clients that I choose to work with too. They're now. It's now.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the risk. And I think anybody that I know that is successful on any level has that same mentality. Just do it. Nike had it right all along.
So what is your next big thing? You know, we're talking about taking risks and you know, stepping outside of our comfort zone. What's next for you?
So I'm relaunching my website in the next week. So up until now, my website has been strictly Mary the Paleo chef to celebrities, and I talk about building that business. But in the last 6 months, a lot of people have been asking me for more of all-encompassing lifestyle because they see the paleo food. Awesome, you can cook paleo food, it's incredible. They see the transformation in my health. You've lost all this weight, you look and feel better. They see the transformation in the way that I feel emotionally, and then they get to see the fact that I took that risk and I took crap and made a beautiful business out of it. So they want to see those elements. And so I'm someone that always talks about crushing life and dominating. So I rebranded the website to produce more content outside of just recipes and food. And it's still paleochef.com, but now it's Eat Clean, Play Often, Crush Life. And it's going to be more articles about all of those elements, whether it's eating, playing, or crushing. Crushing, which I have to do when I say that. And incorporating some of the little hacks I've done to myself. I have a really sensitive body since I am a celiac and intolerant to casein and soy. You put 3 different ghee in front of me, I will tell you within 20 minutes which one has casein in it because my body will react. And I'd rather I have the reaction than you do. So sharing information like that, getting a lot of my celebrity guests to contribute that information as well, and pushing out more of the coaching information. That way I can reach more people. And finishing up a book that encompasses the story and the recipes and the how-to. And it's no nonsense. There's so much science about paleo and eating clean. People don't read that. Mm-hmm. There's a way to simplify it for them. And that's also digging into my past life where I sat in between the real big techie engineers and my customers and being able to translate this code into something that's digestible. So now I'm taking all this science, like I love all this mitochondria talk, but if I tell my client that on first day,
they're done.
So you have to present that information in a different way, and I really want to bring paleo mainstream. I'm so tired of everyone being scared of what they see that's already out there for paleo, thinking it's too hard. It's making it cool again.
Yeah, so let's talk about it being too hard. I mean, Catherine is also celiac. You're celiac, yet you still find a way to cook amazing food and have fun doing it. I belong to one of these celiac support groups on Facebook, and I never post ever because people seem so angry. Like they're so angry about having celiac disease. Like every once in a while, if I post something that's trying to be helpful, it's like there's a backlash.
Yeah.
You know? So how did you go through that sort of almost grieving process when you found out you were celiac, or it was just?
I was so happy.
Me too.
I was so. Were you happy too?
Yes, it's like you have answers to why you're buckled over in pain and, why, all these different things. No, it actually makes, I was happy.
Do you think that that's how you are naturally?
I think so. I think so. I guess I can't relate to, because we talked about this the last podcast, how some people are really bitter, and with the celiac versus the gluten-free. The celiac community thinking the gluten-free community is kind of a joke, and I couldn't relate to that because I just always, I don't know, was very supportive of both.
Yeah, it was the best day of my life for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I think it has to do with people's relationship with food. One of the chapters in my book, I talk about how food and I had to go to couples therapy, so we could understand which one of us could still date and which one of us still could not date. And I think when somebody is bitter, it's because they have a negative relationship with food, and that usually comes from somewhere else. So that's other work that has to be done. It really is, to me, Paleo 3.0 and the psychology of it. Because when I go to, because I'm part of those groups too, and I avoid them because it's like a telenovela all the time. Both of us on those walls.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, all we want to talk about is their gluten-free Twinkies, and and if you try to suggest that maybe that's why you're still experiencing symptoms, it's sort of like get away from
How do you
this.
feel about the other side of the spectrum? You have folks in the paleo community that are paleo purists, and then they go pointing fingers at other people and putting other bloggers down. Rather than focusing on their message to their audience, they want to go take down other people who aren't doing it the way they're doing it. That frustrates others kind of more.
I equate that to like hardcore vegans, actually, where it's just like, man, just keep your eyes on your own plate. Don't worry about what I'm eating or what I'm posting. What works, for me, I said this last time, I spent a lot of time getting healthy, getting myself healthy, so I could enjoy, a lot of things that aren't paleo. It's paleo, but it doesn't fit into this.
Did you coin that yet? Is it yours?
I've started using it a couple times in posts. I'm waiting for the new website to put it in big red so nobody can take it from me.
With a little TM at the top of it.
Did you?
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
That, Mary.
Did you get the domain name? Is the domain name available? You need to get that.
You totally should.
I should. I got eatplaycrush.com.
Oh, good.
Nice. Very cool.
I'll check PVU next.
Yeah, you need that. You need that, or else I'm going to steal it.
And then you're going to sell it to me.
Exactly. I'll let you know when the auction is.
It's just business, Mary. It's just business.
We'll see. We'll see. I can find you.
I'm sure. And by this call, I'm scared already. So
exactly.
I'm looking for.
You'll end up bribing Eric, and he'll talk and tell you where I'm
Probably. So Mary, when you're working, Joe, you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead, Eric. I talked way too much already. Go for it.
When you're working with a client, this is for our listeners, and you're getting them to transition into a paleo type of diet. How do you start? Where's your usual beginning points?
We talk about them as an individual. I need to understand their style. It's something as silly as what magazines do you read, what movies do you watch, what do you do in your social life. How do you deal with conflict at work? Questions like that tell me a lot about their personality, and then I determine if they're hard in the paint paleo, let's go full force day one, or if there's someone based on the answers of those questions that I need to ease into, where we do week 1, no grains. Week 2, let's still do no grains. Week 3, now let's throw in dairy, because you've got to paleo you've got to work with the person. Mm-hmm. And if you just throw a cookie cutter plan at everyone, they're gonna fail, and everybody's different. So I think that's why my clients and I have such good relationships, is because they really know me. They know things about me that I don't even share publicly because it's situational with how we're gonna jive, and I know everything about them to the point where I can read their minds sometimes and send them what they're gonna need to hear that day.
So you bond with them quite well then.
Yes, and that's why.
I was gonna say, as you read that mind, it's a little creepy now. It's just that's just awkward. No, I'm kidding. No, that's awesome.
I'm studying to become a nutritional therapist, and a lot of what you're saying is a lot of what they stress in school is that bio-individuality, working with each person, and then also asking those types of questions like how much sleep do you get, how stressful is your job, are you all those important questions. I think it is very important to treat each person as an individual rather than trying to come up with some cookie cutter plan. Absolutely.
Well, everybody wants to be, not everybody wants to be, everybody is special, and you have to treat them that way. And the questions that you just said that they're asking, I mean, those are great questions, but I would suggest anybody in that class dive even deeper. How stressful is your job? Well, what's stressful? What happened today at your job? What did she say? How dare her? And like, because it's so easy if you're being a coach, it's so easy to have that almost doctor patient where you go to a doctor's office and it's stiff.
Yes.
You only answer the questions that they're telling you, and your doctor never really gets to know you, which put me in the crappy health position I'm in today. So it's always about diving deeper, opening the kimono.
Exactly.
That should be the tagline to your new website. I bet you get a lot of traffic.
Oh yeah.
The wrong traffic.
Yeah, probably.
Exactly. So let's talk about we talked quite a bit about crushing it. We talked quite a bit about eating clean. Let's talk about play. What's your philosophy as far as exercise and play and that whole gig?
So anyone that does paleo, the question people ask them is, do you CrossFit? And I like to separate that as well, because I attend a CrossFit gym, but I don't CrossFit. I do individual training that's really customized to me and what my goals are. And play is, yes, it's working out, but play is sometimes going for a walk on the beach, being outside, reading a book. There is a book which I'm so looking forward to reading that's coming out by Charlie Hone. He understudied with Tim Ferriss and Tucker Max, and he is releasing a book on how he solved his anxiety through play. And it's instead of staring at the screen and trying to get work done or sitting on the floor holding your chest, go and play a sport, go for a walk, mingle with friends. All that stuff helps the psychology going on inside of you, which then helps you with crushing it and helps you with making better choices and with what you're going to eat and put into your body.
I find it helps with creativity as well. Like, I always come up with my best when I'm relaxed and having fun. That's when I come up with my best ideas.
I came up with Eat, Play, Crush because I was so stuck on, how do I embody everything that I do? So when I'm stuck, I start doing handstands and talking out loud to myself.
Perfectly normal.
Doing handstands. Eat, Play, Crush came to me.
They say turning yourself upside down really does. It changes your whole perspective, and it does. It clears your head. You come up with new things. I agree.
So, Catherine, are you doing like cartwheels in the middle of your your house?
I'm still trying to learn. I've been trying to learn how to do a handstand. I do them on the wall now.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Can you do a headstand yet?
Not yet. No.
We should do a video after this session, and I'll walk you through how I learned how to do a headstand from start to finish.
I would love that.
No, let's do it now. Teach everyone. No.
Yeah, but Mary, I agree with you about the play part of life, because full time I'm a teacher. I'm a music teacher. I teach elementary school kids, and that's all I do all day is play. I'm singing with them, I'm dancing with them, I'm playing instruments with them, we're creating things. And that carries over into my life where before I got this job, everything was so serious and stagnant and like almost dead. But as soon as I got a job where I play all day, like my life completely opened up. And I wanted to do things health-wise because I just wanted to play all day. And if I'm eating crappy and I'm not sleeping well, I don't have that same energy.
It's all connected.
Oh,
I
for sure.
started corporate America with this play mentality. I would bring toys into the workplace. We have board game sessions, and I was always so jovial and good morning and all these great things. And I got in trouble for having fun at work, and over 10 years I became this bitch.
Yeah.
And I got my work done. I was crushing it, but I was so just stiff and angry about things, and it's because of that crappy environment that they built. So, I mean, you guys are following me on Facebook. I have intended to age backwards in this like pirate life mentality because play is the way we were intended to be. I hate going back to and tapping into our ancestors, but we are supposed to socialize. If you look at the European culture, which is what I'm used to, you are around family and friends more often than not. You are enjoying life. You're coming together around food, and you're exploring all parts of the creative mind, and that's normal. And that's one thing that I feel like the American culture is lacking, and even I'm lacking because the rest of my family is still over there. So that's also an element that I fold into the message that I give out, is that connection.
Do you find that it's difficult for your clients to understand that and to like give themselves some downtime and relax time and just silliness, like silly playtime?
It is hard for them, and sometimes their silly time is that 1 hour FaceTime with me. But practice makes progress. And the more we do it, and the more jokes I send them by day, or I even send them surprise gifts in the mail, which are sometimes fun little toys for them to like incorporate in their life. I gold spray painted a shake weight and sent it to a client as a reminder to play. And so when they keep getting those reminders, they end up doing it naturally. And I love seeing, because you can tell a lot about someone based on their last 5 tweets or last 5 status updates. I love watching their status updates or pictures go from blah to ta-da as they go through that process.
Nice. That gets beaten out of us as kids, right? I mean, Eric, you still see it. You're working with young kids, and they're still having fun, but it's somewhere along the line. Yeah.
When my students come to class, it's a good 10, 15 minutes of just warming them up that it's a safe place to dance and to sing and to be creative. Like, I have to warm them up because they're sitting in their desk staring at a board, quiet, filling in test answers all day. But when they come to music class, this is free. This is free time to dance and to play. And kindergarten through 5th grade, so 5-year-olds.
Is it Bukowski that says we're free until we're 4 years old? I think Bukowski said that.
Whatever, it's so true. It's so true. So going back to what you're saying, Joe, I totally see that with my kids, and it's awesome to see them open up and to let them know that this is okay. It's okay to dance and to act like a fool. And to be silly, it's part of being a kid. It's part of life.
To do that shit all the time.
Hello. You know what it is? As soon as they see me getting up and, dancing around and, being silly, they're like, all right, maybe I should try it too. And they get up and they start to, do what they got to do, dance and sing and fall on the floor and crawl and spin.
I have dance parties with my boys.
Yep.
Quite frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you have to. Being playful and not putting on this image men were supposed to be this macho, image and act a certain way, watch football and drink beer all day. And it's like, no, I'm going to be the goofy dad that I want to be and dance around the house with my son. I don't want to teach him that same sort of dogma that men have to deal with. So that's all of us.
Right on.
God, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but maybe it is.
It's a huge deal. I've been doing a lot of reading on masculinity versus femininity because I get crucified for being what people view as masculine, not being feminine enough, which I don't even know what that means. However,
it's because you're crushing it, Mary. You're just crushing it way too much. Stop crushing it.
But I was reading about it with men and how they struggle because they actually have a lot of these tendencies to have fun and I don't even want to call it feminine, but not be what we think they're supposed to be on paper, of this and it's hurting their relationships, their romantic relationships, their friendships, and their relationship with their kids. And it even limits the number of friends they're capable of having. And if people would just get over their shit and just play more, we'd all be in a much better place. And just gonna have some more my drink.
I thought we were gonna talk about whiskey and bourbon all night. This ends up being the deepest show we've ever done. So what kind of tequila do you have there?
This is chameleon coffee that I mixed with reposado tequila.
Nice.
It's delicious.
It sounds delicious.
It sounds amazing. I haven't tried the cold brew coffee yet, but I'm gonna have to.
If you order it online, because I spend a lot of time in Austin, which is why I was introduced to them. But their mocha is to die for. I don't recommend drinking it out of the bottle. It is high concentrate cold brew coffee. So dilute it.
Like you're doing.
Don't do that. This guy that I was dating, I went through half a bottle in one day, just drinking on the bottle, and he was so concerned with it that he hid the rest of my coffee from me. And I was like, you don't hide my coffee from me. This is over.
So when they reattached his arm, was he able to get full movement in his fingers? No. No. No, but seriously, there probably is a point where you could actually go over to caffeine.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't recommend it. That day that I did that, I just wasn't paying attention. It was in the middle of a launch for a client, and that's when I was like, oh, that's why you don't do this, because you're so wired that you're actually comatose.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this.
Well, the tequila definitely balances out that effect, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, now I have probably 50 of the empty bottles, and I'll just dilute it and make pre-made drinks that I want. So I'll infuse their coffee with turmeric, or I'll make my own pre-made Catalyst coffee for the week and all this stuff.
Let's talk about your book.
Yeah.
Because it's really different. It's really, really different.
You're talking about the e-cookbook?
No, the one that's out now. Yeah, the one that's out now, Summer Eats.
So Summer Eats, I'm going to actually rename when I relaunch the website, because I think that a lot of the recipes are seasonal agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want people to be able to understand that. It's a beautiful book. It's unlike, to me, any other ebook I've seen. The pictures are mouth-watering, and it's got 16 recipes that are paleofied that are delicious, but then it has 15 clean cocktails because we still want to have fun.
Right.
And
exactly.
Things like bacon-infused bourbon with the blueberry mash, or
changed my life.
Yeah, the Casandrino's olive oil-infused vodka, or a bourbon milkshake, or the jalapeno business infused tequila.
Hey now.
But it's all made with clean, fresh ingredients, and we teach you how to make your own simple syrup. We teach you how to infuse the fats into your alcohol, because I know some people who never drink, and that's cool for them. No judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people still want to enjoy.
Maybe a little judgment. Just a little. No, I'm kidding, of course.
My judging face. But if you teach someone how to drink clean, they're going to drink clean. And so there's that
Plus,
in there.
it just tastes better. It just tastes better.
And it reduces the likelihood of a hangover. It's like it reduces the effect of having a hangover if you're drinking a clean cocktail. So it's like you can rage like you're 21 again and not worry about ruining the day.
Yeah, I think that theory goes out the window once you hit 40, though. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Jury's still out on that one. No, but it's true. It's true. It definitely feels better. It's cleaner buzz. It's definitely a cleaner.
It's very much like a pinking out paleo ebook, because it's sliders and.
I probably would have picked a different finger, but it kind of.
You guys know about my tattoo, right?
No, what is it? That's awesome.
So I just got this tattoo in Austin while I was doing that ebook, and it goes with the element of play. It's HFF as a reminder for have fucking fun.
Hey, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if something's not fun.
Is it on your middle finger? Oh,
yeah.
Exactly.
Bravo!
Well played.
I may have lost my audience because of that.
No, I doubt it. Well, maybe.
I lost the right audience.
Well, exactly. If they can't withstand that, then
you're just keeping it real, Mary. You're just keeping it real.
Keeping it real, paleo.
That's right.
Paleo. I'm just going to totally overdo that to the point where when you finally get around to getting the domain name, it's just going to be so silly.
I love it though, because
I'm going to ruin it.
It'd be our warrior cry, like in 300. Paleo.
Excellent. I'm going to. Yeah, that's awesome. So. Yeah, I definitely encourage people to check out the book, because it is quite different. The liver strawberry salad is amazing. I look at when we did the paleo, the primal cooking workshop, and that was one of the dishes that we made. I didn't get it until I saw the book. Like once I saw the book and the picture, I'm like, oh, that's it. Like when I made this big salad, with arugula and strawberries and liver. And then when I saw the book, I was like, oh, it's like so elegant, and it's just like.
It's definitely about that again. So you look at the book and it's beautiful, like you said. Plating. I'm very proud that I cooked that food and took those pictures same day. So that book is 100% blood, sweat, and tears. But you read the copy, and the copy is snarky. Like some of the copy, I tell people, don't F up this recipe. Like follow it to the T, because it's supposed to be fun with still this beautiful piece of food. It's not supposed to be boring at all. And people like beautiful food. They're more likely to eat a well-plated arugula and liver salad.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot in there that comes from my culture. So you'll see a lot of Greek and Egyptian influence in the recipes. Like there's these date cookies that we have every New Year's that's supposed to give a sign of health and rebirth. And so I have those cookies in there. There's my Mediterranean skillet, which is actually not just a breakfast dish, but it's a simple dish that we have during our fast periods in the Coptic tradition. There's a lot in there that I have presented in a way that is digestible for this culture that comes from my culture, which hasn't changed much since, the time of the pyramids. Lots of culture back there.
Good deal. All right, let's wrap it up. Because I think Eric's you gotta go, right, Eric?
Yeah, I have a client in a little bit.
All right. So, Mary, you're at thepaleochef.com.
Paleochef.com, no the.
No the? Oh, it's just Paleo Chef?
Somebody else has the Paleo Chef.
Mary, it was nice to meet you. I got to run. My client's calling.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you, Eric. Thanks.
See you later. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. And so folks know, Eric is erichulse.com and also Eric Hulse on Facebook. And he was talking about his kids. He's got some really, really great videos on his if you go to his Facebook page or his website or his YouTube channel, which I think is Eric Hulse also. He's got some really great videos with his kids, being kids. We talked about that sort of playfulness getting beat out of us, and Eric is doing his best to make sure that doesn't happen. So go check that out. And Mary, you're at paleochef.com, not thepaleochef.com. And Facebook is Mary the Paleo Chef?
Yes, and then Twitter and Instagram is at PaleoChef.
Twitter and Instagram. Excellent. And Catherine, primalblissnutrition.com?
Yes.
Where else can people find you?
Facebook.com, Primal Bliss Nutrition. Instagram and Twitter, Primal Bliss. And Pinterest.
Primal Bliss everywhere.
Primal Bliss, yes.
I'm still trying to get into Pinterest. Facebook is failing miserably, so I have to try and get into Pinterest.
Did you get Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook?
No.
Send me your address after this podcast, and I'll gift you a copy. And he's got good case studies and a quantifiable direction on how to attack every social media platform. Awesome. And I bought a bunch of copies because I love Gary Vaynerchuk. He actually gives you actionable information. So I bought a ton because I want to share them with peeps. Same goes for you, Catherine.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Great. Thank you. I will take you up on that. All right, folks. Thanks so much for listening and watching and downloading. Please head over to iTunes and give us a review. It helps us get noticed and get the word out. Mary, thanks so much for hanging out with us and getting deep with us. That was really a really, really good episode. I think it's going to help a lot of people. So
thank you, Mary.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
All right, folks. Have a good night.
Good night.